Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Climate Action Homes, where we dive into how you can make a positive environmental impact with your home. I'm so excited. We've been talking for quite a while to bring you a conversation with the team behind RedT. This is Vincent Deorio, who's the CEO, as well as Ben Walker, lead architect with RedT. And the reason that I reached out to them is the first thing that I saw was a home that I walked past and I'm like, this is different. What is going on here? I need to know more about this. So stay tuned and we're going to talk with them first, and then you'll be able to see some of the photos of the cool homes, these super energy efficient homes that they're building in Denver and beyond. So with that, thank you guys both for joining me today.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. Before we dive into some of the slides, I just wanted to ask you, why did you each join this RedT team? And maybe we'll start with Ben because he joined a little bit earlier and then Vincent came on.
Thanks, John. For me, my background prior to joining was custom residential, so large, significant homes. And when I was looking to make a change, the opportunity to join a company who were putting sustainable design, green design at the forefront of their mind through all projects was really exciting to me. And the opportunity to be one of the first companies that I saw out there really making that change to better the environment, to better people's quality of lives in terms of how they live within these homes, how these homes sit within cities and wider communities, and just really focusing on the future of what I think is a really important aspect of our role as designers, developers, and people that give back to the community.
Yeah, that must feel really great because I think for so many people, they're saying, yeah, but you don't understand construction, the timing, the budgets, the competition. We'd love to, but and the fact that you guys are actually doing it is very cool. So how about you, Vincent?
Yeah, so I'm still the new guy in the building. I came in as the new CEO about 6 months ago. The former CEO and owner, Nathan, he had decided about a year ago to bring on a new CEO to really bring what he had built to the next level. He started the company about 18 years ago and woke up 18 years later had made a bunch of impact on the communities that he had developed in, had 50 employees and a pipeline of great projects behind him, and said, you know what, it's my time to pass along the reins. And that was exciting to me, particularly because my background is a combination of traditional real estate investments, so both development, acquisitions of existing real estate, primarily in residential and some hospitality. But I combined that with a background in technology. I had moved from San Francisco about 3 years ago to Colorado. And what I really have, where I thrive is joining and scaling companies who are on the cutting edge of new trends. And I personally am very passionate about the home, shelter, where families and human beings live and reside. And there's not a lot of talk about healthy living and what is your environment that you reside in, that you're spending countless hours in your homes. So that was an appeal to me because coming from California, they've been on the forefront of climate impact of development. A number of the projects that I worked on there were LEED Gold certified when that first became a thing. And so moving to Denver, and I heard of RedT and that they were on the forefront of that excited me. I also think this is just the very early innings of what is about to come in the near future in real estate development and beyond. And we're just at the tip, right, of seeing some really innovative and exciting new technology out there. And I'm all in on it. So it's been a great journey here for 6 months. We're well received within the communities that we're developing in because we are missionally driven in our construction, and that's pretty rare in today's environment, given all things that are going on. So we keep our mission of building a greener Colorado at the forefront.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it really is a model for others to take a look at. I was just thinking back as you were talking about that. I was working on the first Colorado home energy rating system in 1988. It just seems like there've been all these reasons that we can't do this stuff that seems so logical. And so it's really cool to see that you guys are making this happen. And as you said, I'm sure it'll just be the beginning, but it does feel like a log jam is finally breaking. So Vincent, do you want to start out with just an overview of Red?
I'd say today we're a fully integrated real estate investment firm. And I say investment firm because we do both new construction and renovations. The bulk of our efforts are on new construction. We build attainably priced housing. So we're very focused on what we call the missing middle, the cost of, or the barrier to entry and moving into a new home is becoming increasingly difficult. And there's plenty of developers out there who are building in Colorado $1 million plus homes. We have infill, and then we're going outside of Infill Denver. But all of our product that we're striving to bring to the market is essentially attainably priced housing. And when I say, and I say essentially, is because that could be a little subjective depending on where you're at in the country. But we typically build more dense product, so townhomes, townhome products. We do some detached single family. We do a combination of each. And as of 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, we made the commitment to build all LEED Gold certified or better, which we'll get into here. And I appreciate you going to the next slide there, because that's a new initiative that we want to differentiate ourselves from other developers in the market. I think there's plenty of people who can build a home. We're not a national home builder, so we're not just building tract home product. We're pretty versatile in what we're doing. We're opportunistic in where we can develop. So if we could develop a duplex in a great neighborhood in Denver, we'll do it. We're currently doing a larger project, a 53-unit townhome project in Aurora that is going to be all LEED Gold certified and better. So we're pretty versatile in what we'll do, which differentiates us. That then parlays into this slide is we are, like I said, fully integrated. So we have everything in-house. So Ben leads our architecture team in-house. So we do both architecture work for our projects that we own and operate, as well as third-party services. From architecture to development, that means bringing projects through entitlements to construction, sales and marketing. We offer all of those services. So if it's a project that we have in-house, that we own and have investors in, we do the full cycle. If another group comes to us and says, hey, we have a piece of land, would you do the architecture work and development and construction for us? We offer that. And that's pretty rare. I think we are the only company in Colorado who offers end-to-end services in our space.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking earlier, I was trying to figure out, so what kind of company are you? And I think that's the thing, you don't really fit into a box of a home builder or a developer, or it's this whole array, this whole suite of services, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it creates challenges, right? I think there is when you're running a company, you want to seek an identity, and sometimes you latch on to existing companies that are already there to say, oh, we're like them, or we're like this person. It's my goal to create our own identity here in our organization. And sometimes that may be uncomfortable because it's not predictable. But in my view, I appreciate companies who are agile, who can be experts in different areas and not just be pigeonholed. And candidly, part of the reason that I really appreciate that about our organization is the market needs inventory. So there's a supply issue. And I think human beings all have different appetites, right? Now, people don't like all the same thing. For us to be able to provide product that is widely appealing to different sets of human beings, that's fulfilling to me. I don't want to just build one thing and then carve out a whole bunch of people who are like, we need housing too. And that's what a lot of home builders are doing. They're providing inventory to the market, but not everybody likes to live outside of the urban core and move into the same looking homes all the time. So I
Yeah.
feel like we're providing that gap.
Yeah, you can see that in what you guys produce. And Ben, maybe we can turn it over to you to talk a little bit about this Mississippi LiteHomes. And also, Vincent, when you were talking about that, one of the roles I had earlier was our company was doing the integrated design services for the XL Energy project. And that, in seeing all the different pieces that you have, that was really what we came to find, is that if you don't do integrated design, bringing in the needs of the person and the marketing and the architecture and the construction all into the process, then you really can't achieve these higher levels. It's fascinating to me to see how many of those you have in-house. And I wonder if that is one reason that you're able to get to some of these things that others are not. So with that, Ben, do you want to tell us a little bit about these homes that you were involved with?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, John. So first off, as Vincent's mentioned, that everything we strive to do is LEED Gold or better. These homes are LEED Platinum, which means that they meet the highest level of sustainability below LEED Zero set up by USGBC. So with that, there are certain elements and criteria that you have to meet that other homes don't. Some of those is air quality, air tightness. You have to meet certain requirements for the way that the homes are constructed. We'll have to go through more tests during the construction process than other home builders would, who are not pursuing these LEED certifications. So what that means is that whoever moves into these homes, whoever's living there, they're living in a really high quality, pure, air-rated home, which is hugely beneficial long term. And it's something that I think is hugely important for us as designers to give people that opportunity to live in. Other factors that go into these homes are provisions of solar. This is something that is paramount in terms of achieving that LEED Zero status. Obviously, LEED Zero is something that you achieve 12 months post completion. So you track the data usage from these homes. And at the end of that 12 months, if your offset is at zero, then you're a LEED Zero home. And the way that these homes have been set up, everything is all electric. All of the appliances are low flow. So we're really minimizing our water usage. There's a lot that goes into selecting the site. So one of the things that LEED really focuses on is making sure that the homes that are built are in parts of cities, towns that people can access easily. They can access infrastructure, transportation without having to jump in the car and drive 5, 20, 30 minutes. And then the other thing that's really important to LEED and to us as a company is the materials that we use. We make a point in trying to minimize all of our steel usage. With steel comes obviously a pretty significant carbon footprint, which is something that we try to offset. And then just in terms of the use of the insulations, so we're using really high quality insulations in the walls, the roofs, in the floors, which help with that thermal efficiency of the homes. Coupling that with the air tightness, these homes really are very sustainable, and it really embodies, I would say, the holistic approach that we as a team here try and embody in everything that we do.
One of the things that I was impressed of how tight these homes are next to each other, but the fact that you're able to get, what is it? I can't remember. Is it like 6 panels here and then another 6 or so on the garage?
Yeah, there are 19 panels on each home spread between the home itself and the garage. So obviously we've really tried to maximize the efficiency and the production that you can get from solar here. Working in Denver, obviously they have certain criteria that you meet within height restrictions and the forms of these homes. So we really maxed out these as much as we could to try and give the homes the best opportunity in generating solar power, not being intrusive on the neighboring properties, so that therefore natural daylight flooding into these homes isn't an issue. And obviously, as you'll see in some of the photographs and having been there, we do have skylights in these homes. So you have the beauty of solar on one side of the roof producing the energy, and then you have the natural light that floods in from the other side of the roof. So really a lot of thought and time that went into how we can make the most of these homes in what, as you say, is a pretty tightly compacted site.
Yeah. And I think that was the other thing that we were talking about earlier is the infill idea and creating more homes. Could you mention a little bit about that? What was on this site before and what do you have on there now?
So right now we have 7 single family homes, each with a single car detached garage. And then the site before, we had to do a little bit of demolition work on there. But as a corner lot, it's prime location. And as we've already touched on, it's a small site. To be able to produce 7 single family homes with parking in what's pretty close to Denver city center is a really neat thing. And it's something that we try and push for on all of our infill sites.
Yeah, and on that, I think there was one home on it, right? Before.
Yeah.
It was one home prior on a large lot. I think the unique thing that I was surprised about, so this project was built before, it was started before I joined, obviously. But when I walked the homes, despite it being compact, you hear 7 homes on a lot that there used to be one home. Some may say, geez, are these tiny homes? Well, when you walk in, as you could probably attest to, Joan, it's a very functional layout and it feels a lot larger than it looks like from the outside. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It is a very functional living space. And I think that the people who have been very attracted to these homes say the exact same thing. They're like, we're in Denver. This home is functional. This is all we need. We don't need a 5,000 square foot home in the middle of nowhere where we have to drive everywhere. This home checks all the boxes for us. I'm particularly proud about that we're able to add an additional 6 homes to the market where there was 1 home. Now there's 7. So that's a net new 6, in which Denver we have a housing crisis here. We're not able to build enough homes for the people moving to Colorado.
And just to piggyback on that is, I think one of the things that makes these homes really unique is when you're on the street and you're looking at them, they look like single story dwellings, but we do have that below grade set up where you have the bedrooms down there. Like Vincent's saying, they do feel spacious when you're inside. And obviously the fact that we have the raked ceilings and we've used that to our advantage, that it does feel like it's a much bigger home. And as Vincent says, it's 6 positive for the site that was previously 1 large home.
It does feel very spacious when you walk in there, but then as you go to that lower level, it's, you can put people in all these bedrooms down here. So thanks for sharing a little bit about that. Vincent, do you want to talk a little bit about the whole body of work, the pipeline that RedT is looking at right now?
Yeah, definitely. I'll touch on that. As you can see on this slide, we have a little over 600 units in our pipeline that are at some stage of development, from concept to units for sale currently, and everywhere in between. Our product varies from a single family home, 1 single family dwelling, to currently our larger size projects are in the 50-ish range, 50 units in Aurora, up at Colfax. That's our townhome project there called Grand Avenue. And then we have another one in Arvada that's approximately 54 units, and that's a combination of single family homes, carriage homes, duplexes. We're not building 200 plus unit master plan communities. Most of these are going to be built to LEED Gold certified and above. And I say most because some of these we are building for clients and we encourage them and set them up to build to LEED Gold certified, and they're all committed to it. It's just once we get to the finish line, they have to ultimately make the decision that they want to go that extra step. And to your point earlier about just economies of scale and having a fully integrated solution that enables us to provide a more cost-effective solution. I think the thing that's prohibited folks from doing this previously and is still cost prohibitive. It's not like it's a net same price to do things, but it's becoming more attainable to build green. And so we're able to offer that to our clients. You can go to the next slide and see where these are mapped out in the Denver metro. We are looking at other pockets in Colorado to start developing and providing our services for the foreseeable future. The next 12 months, we are focused specifically in Colorado. future state, we may open up one or two other states, but we're being very mindful of scaling too fast. We want to provide an excellent product here before we go to other states. This is a project that I'm really proud of, and proud of our entire team, our architecture team, our development team, construction team. We're just starting to build this one. Ben's team has designed this. It's with development and will be passed off to construction soon. Ben, do you want to touch on this one?
So it's a total of 25 townhomes, all designed to meet LEED Gold certification. All of the homes are all electric. We have 6 structures on the site. It's a corner lot, so it's a really prime location. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud about on this site is we've had a lot of constraints in terms of what's there in the ground already. There's a ditch that runs through the site that we've had to navigate, and there are certain requirements that we've had to meet in terms of water retention and detention on the site. So we've really had to get creative with this one. And as far as infill sites go, this is one that I'm really proud of and excited to see come to fruition in the next year. So it's northwest Denver. It's on 38th Avenue and Perry Street. So it's a great location. There was a solitary structure on the site in a similar way to what we just talked about on Mississippi. You're going from a site that had one structure to having another 24 added, and that's 24 homes for, or 20 homes for 25 families to take advantage of and move into and live in really high quality, sustainable homes.
You're like the Mary Poppins of Denver construction. It's okay, here's 24 homes. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think the other thing that, having grown up in Denver, it's very different. The climate, it's a lot hotter, and things like the wildfire smoke, I just don't ever remember as a kid seeing smoke affecting us in Denver. Yes, if you went up to the mountains sometimes, but the fact that we are now impacted by wildfires that are happening in Canada and California. So even if somehow we had our act together here, I think that being at home and being exposed to air that is not fit to breathe is pretty likely to be something that's going to continue to happen and happen more often. These units that are attainable and focusing on the indoor air quality is such a big benefit. I think people don't realize that is going to be one of the main things that we see with climate resilience, is homes that are able to stay healthy no matter what's going on during these extreme climate events.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think it's something that everyone doesn't think about until it's actually happening, and they're forced to think about it. But I think this is where the trend is going. Denver is pushing standards on how homes are built, and I think we're on the forefront of that, and it's going to continue to evolve, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing about having grown up in Denver, we didn't need air conditioning. And so going to building an all-electric home that has heat pumps and doesn't have a gas furnace in there, the cost of gas, like all these things are future-proofing not only the home, but the lives of the people that are in there. So this is really great to see. Is there anything that you see coming with the Denver codes or any other movements that you're wanting to get ahead of going forward?
Yeah, we're looking at a bunch of solutions on the materials that we're using to build our homes, whether that's the cement that we're using or the framing or the materials that are going within our homes. There's some incredible technology and innovations that are coming out that are making our lives easier to do. I'm not going to go out and create a new cement that has a carbon footprint that is less than the current materials that we're using, but there's a lot of companies that are. So my goal is to partner with innovative solutions that we can leverage in our homes.
Talking about innovation, and that's something that's really big for USGBC and LEED, and it's one of the things that contributes to a credit that you achieve on your way to getting LEED Gold, LEED Platinum. And there are other certifications out there, which I think one of the things that makes us unique is that we also pursue those. So there's DOE certification, Department of Energy, there's Energy Star certifications, all of which really push us as a team to make these homes really efficient. And I think you touched on the way that the Denver code is going. It's moving things, and it's exciting for us to be constantly having to evolve and learn new things and push ourselves to get better and design better and just help give back and make a better difference.
That's great that you guys feel that way, because I'm sure that construction, you have plenty of variables already to deal with, not being a mass builder in one site. You're not a track builder. So you're optimizing each location for the solar exposure, for the daylight exposure. And I always think back that I don't know if you guys have been to Mesa Verde, you see where there was that big overhang and their homes were south facing. So they chose to live in this kind of rock wall area that was perfectly oriented to the south. And it's interesting that so many builders, they just skip that step. We can't think about that.
Yeah,
So,
and the data is there. I think I'm very data driven. So regardless of our emotional attachment to our mission, the data speaks for itself. I think particularly the residential real estate industry is behind the curve a little bit on actually quantifying the impact. So the impact on our energy bills, the impact on our carbon footprint. We could say all these things, they sound great, but commercial real estate is doing a much better job of being able to quantify their impact by building green through data. And that is the clearest way you can provide a consumer of saying, this is your exact impact. Residential is catching up to that. And I think we're seeing some pretty exponential strides on the ability to track data in the residential real estate space. So we will be on the forefront of that. We will be providing that to our homeowners that are looking at our product, and hopefully the communities that we're building in, we can say, we are going to make impact to your community by quantifiable data. That will go a long way. That will start to snowball and get people on board, because otherwise it just sounds great, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And so the last thing is, as you're looking towards the future, what do you think the next level will be? What do you think is on the forefront? What is that next level?
I think some of it is already, happening. We haven't done in our projects. We haven't looked at manufactured housing in depth. We're considering it, but you're already seeing it, in apartment buildings and modular homes. I do think the way we build a home is the same for the most part as the way we built a home 100 years ago. Right there,
Yeah.
that evolution hasn't really changed a ton, and I'm generalizing here, so I know that some of this is broad strokes, but I think the way that we build and construct homes in the future is going to change with the advent of robotics and AI and new technologies. I think that it's going to become more efficient, which will hopefully become less impactful to the environment. So I think that's coming. I think the way communities communicate and the way people think of homeownership is changing, right? With what is important to families. I think the home ownership is now becoming less attainable, as we all know. So renters are staying in homes longer. They're deciding to rent instead of own. So I think as we look at the next 10 years, how is that dynamic going to play out? How are we going to continue to, as a society, get people into home ownership? And that's evolving, whether that's through new financing tools, whether that's rent to own programs, whether that's building smaller, more attainably priced housing, which we're doing. So I think that's all evolving as well.
How about you, Ben? What do you see?
I agree. I think change is something that is a great thing, and it forces us to change, to alter the way that we think and push ourselves. And I think, I hate to throw the C COVID word out there, but I think that changed the way a lot of people view homes, having to spend the best part of 2 years in your home, living, working, raising families 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So to be a part of something where we're looking to produce something that really embodies the holistic approach and is a sustainable approach is huge, and just continuously learning and educating ourselves on different technologies, different techniques of construction. It's only going to get better, and it's going to really just at some point take off. And it's great to be a part of something like Vincent said that puts us on the sort of the forefront of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect of resilience, is how you as the family living there can actually coexist during a crisis or during every day. And like that, the Mississippi LiteHomes, that felt like that to me, where upstairs was like we're all coming together. And the downstairs was like, I got to go to work now.
And that it's something that we do take a lot of thought into when we're designing these homes, is how they're going to be used and how they're going to be lived in, as well as how they sit on the site, how they sit within a wider community. All these things are hugely important to us as a company.
Vincent, did you want to wrap it up there for us? Add something? And
yeah, Ben said it. I think we're excited to continue learning. I think that because we're in the early innings, we want to provide as much to the community as we can, and be a resource for other developers and people that are looking to learn, as well as learn from others, right? I think I've learned a tremendous amount from you, Joan, just in the short time we've known each other. So I think that's how we view the world, as being an open book. So I just would say, if any of your listeners want to chat with me or our team, I'd love to. If there's other products or other things that we should be considering in our developments, please reach out, and just looking forward to maintaining our relationship, Joan.
sounds great. We'll have to touch base in a little bit and see what's new sometime in the future. So
All right.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thanks, Vincent, for hanging out with us today. And this thing right now, we've got world leaders that are flying into Dubai for COP28. And that always amazes me, because that's a big carbon footprint. But those of us in our own homes, in our own communities, we really can, in our own businesses, we really can be that change that we're looking for. And whatever you're doing in your own home, in your own community, you're the one to hop in there, make the difference. So thank you guys for leading the way with that. And we'll see you on the next episode of Climate Action Homes. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.